Welcome to our deep dive into the life of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai.
Right.
You've sent over a fascinating collection of articles and excerpts about this incredible figure,
Yeah.
the man really behind India's space program.
Mm.
And it's clear you want to understand not just what he did,
Right.
but the kind of person he was,
Yeah.
the driving forces behind his work, the challenges he faced,
Yeah.
and ultimately the impact he had.
Absolutely.
So to help us with this deep dive, we've got excerpts from a coffee table book about Dr. Sarabhai,
Okay.
a biography very aptly titled Vikram Sarabhai, the Legend,
Mm-hmm.
and another one simply called Vikram Sarabhai, A Life.
Wow.
So plenty to dig into.
Sounds like it.
Our mission, if you will, is to uncover the man behind the legend.
All right.
What made him tick?
Yeah.
How did he achieve so much in such a short lifespan?
Right.
And what can we learn from his approach to science, technology, and nation building?
Big questions.
Big questions indeed.
Yeah.
So maybe we could start with his upbringing, because both of the biographies talk about how his parents, Amalal and Sarla Devi,
Right.
chose to homeschool their 8 children.
Wow. 8 children.
8 children.
That's a lot.
Using the Montessori method.
The Montessori method.
Which was quite progressive for their time.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty unusual for that era in India.
It really was.
Especially for a family of their social standing.
Exactly. So instead of that kind of rigid schooling that was common at the time,
Yeah.
they emphasized self-discovery and really learning at your own pace.
So it's almost like they were setting up this environment where their children could explore their own interests.
Exactly. And they had PhD-holding teachers.
Really?
Artists recommended by Rabindranath Tagore himself.
Wow, that's impressive.
And they weren't just focused on academics and the arts.
Wow.
The sources also mention that Vikram and his siblings,
Okay.
they were also trained in these very practical skills.
Like what?
Everything from managing finances, guest relations,
Okay.
the aviary, the kitchen, the cowsheds.
Like cowsheds. Wow.
It's really incredible.
So it wasn't just about intellect.
Right.
It was about character and practical skills.
Exactly. It was very holistic.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, how did this unconventional foundation shape Vikram's later leadership style?
That's a great question.
Because, I mean, you think about those early experiences and how they might have laid the groundwork for his ability to connect these seemingly disparate fields later on in his life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the Montessori emphasis on independence and problem solving probably played a significant role in fostering his ability to think outside the box and challenge conventions.
And we see that throughout his career.
Constantly pushing boundaries.
So those early exposures to these diverse fields could really explain how he so seamlessly connected science, arts, and societal needs later in his life.
Precisely. It's like the seeds were planted right there in his childhood home.
So fascinating.
Now, speaking of connections,
Yeah.
let's look into his time at Cambridge,
Okay.
which coincided with some pretty significant shifts in the scientific landscape.
Okay.
The once renowned Cavendish and Mond laboratories were experiencing this decline in prominence. And then, of course, there was the looming threat of World War II.
It must have been such a turbulent time to be entering the world of scientific research.
It was.
How did this global landscape end up shaping his path?
Well, you have to imagine the epicenter of scientific discovery,
Okay.
shifting from Europe to America,
Okay.
fueled by wartime pressures
Right.
and all these brilliant minds fleeing persecution.
Yeah.
But despite these disruptions, Vikram thrived.
Yeah.
He earned his tripos and, importantly, secured permission to continue research back in India
Oh, wow.
under the guidance of the legendary C.V. Raman.
So this is where the groundwork for his space exploration vision starts.
This is it.
With his early research on the time distribution of cosmic rays using a Geiger counter.
A Geiger counter.
Yeah, and this led to his first paper being presented to the Indian Academy of Sciences.
It's a big deal.
So even though he was studying cosmic rays, he was already tuned into the Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field.
It's like he had this innate sense of the interconnectedness of things.
Wow.
But remember, his life wasn't all equations and laboratories.
Right.
The sources highlight his deep connection to the arts.
Yes.
He even formed these close friendships with renowned figures like M.S. Subbulakshmi.
Yes. And Ram Gopal.
That's right. And it was through these artistic circles that he met his future wife.
Oh, wow.
Mrinalini Swaminathan,
Mrinalini Swaminathan.
the famous Bharatanatyam dancer,
Right.
trained at Shintaniketan.
They were quite the power couple.
They really were.
It's fascinating how he navigated both the scientific and artistic worlds so seamlessly.
And speaking of appreciating different fields, before we dive into Vikram's pioneering role in India's space age, the sources highlight this incredible period where he applies his scientific mind
to a diverse range of industries.
He wasn't someone content with knowledge just for knowledge's sake.
Right.
He actively sought to see its real-world impact.
Yeah.
Like at Swastik oil mills. He was one of the first to introduce data analysis and computer modeling.
He was using computers for marketing.
It was revolutionary.
That's incredible.
And the impact was significant.
Yeah.
He enabled targeted campaigns and optimized resource allocation.
Wow.
In a way that paved the way for data-driven decisions across the industry.
And then there's his work with ACHEA, the Ahmedabad Textile Industries Research Association.
Yeah.
It's almost like he had this knack for bridging the gap between scientific knowledge and practical solutions.
No, absolutely. He was a champion of operational research.
So he brought science to the textile industry.
Exactly.
What did that actually look like?
One example is his focus on applied research. Where he connected scientific findings to solve specific problems faced by the textile industry.
And he also introduced concepts like industrial psychology and modern management techniques.
Which were relatively new to India at the time.
I can only imagine the pushback.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
He might have gotten from the industry at that time.
Yeah. It's like he was bringing in this entirely new way of thinking.
It's amazing how he managed all of these diverse ventures while simultaneously pursuing his scientific passion.
He had boundless energy.
It's all building towards this incredible moment. The birth of India's space age.
Right.
It's no coincidence that this happens right after the launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957.
Sputnik 1, a watershed moment.
Really was.
It shifted global perspectives because suddenly space exploration wasn't just this scientific endeavor. It became a symbol of national prestige and technological prowess.
It was a wake-up call for many nations.
Absolutely.
Especially those aspiring to be global players.
Like India.
Like India and Vikram, with his deep understanding of the ionosphere and the magnetic equator. He saw the opportunity for India to step onto that stage.
Exactly. He grasped the strategic importance of space technology. And not just for scientific advancement, but for communication education. And resource management areas vital to India's development.
And that's where his talent for bringing people together really shines.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about the early days of Terralis, which led to the first rocket launch in 1963.
What?
You've got the French providing radar.
Wow.
The Russians, a computer.
Really?
And the Americans training.
It sounds almost unbelievable given the Cold War rivalry at the time.
It really does.
It's a testament to his diplomatic skills and vision.
Yeah.
He understood that international collaboration was key to building India's space capabilities.
And he had this incredible ability to transcend those Cold War rivalries.
He did.
He wasn't just acquiring technology. He was laying the groundwork for a self-reliant space program.
There's a quote from Vikram that captures this vision perfectly. He said, "We do not have the fantasy of competing in the exploration of the moon or the planets or manned space flights. But we are convinced that if we are to play a meaningful role nationally and in the community of nations, we must be second to none in the application of advanced technologies to the real problems of man and society."
So it wasn't about prestige.
No.
It was about harnessing space technology for tangible benefits.
Precisely.
Here on Earth.
And his vision for ISRO
Yeah.
extended far beyond simply launching satellites.
Okay.
He oversaw the development of various launch vehicles.
Such as
SLV, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV.
Each building upon the previous one.
It was a testament to his philosophy of leapfrogging.
Leapfrogging.
A concept he applied to almost every challenge he took on.
It's almost like he was saying, why just catch up when we can leap ahead?
Exactly.
I'm curious to hear more about this philosophy and how it played out in these different launch vehicles.
Well, the SLV, or Satellite Launch Vehicle, was India's first foray into building a completely indigenous launch system.
Okay.
It was a 4-stage solid fuel rocket.
Wow.
Designed for lighter payloads.
Okay.
The next step was the ASLV.
ASLV.
Or Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle.
Okay.
Which built upon the SLV design.
All right.
By adding strap-on boosters to increase payload capacity.
But the real game changer was the PSLV.
The PSLV.
The Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle.
Yes, you are absolutely right.
That's still operational today.
It is.
And it's renowned for its reliability in placing satellites into polar orbits.
Precisely.
Which are vital for Earth observation.
Yes, the PSLV was specifically designed for polar orbits, which are crucial for tasks like Earth observation, weather forecasting, and resource mapping.
Wow.
Its success enabled India to become self-reliant in gathering valuable data in a variety of applications, from disaster management to resource monitoring.
That's a significant achievement.
And then we come to the GSLV, the Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle, which was designed to launch heavier payloads and reach geostationary orbits, which are essential for communication satellites.
Each of these launch vehicles really represents a technological jump forward.
They do.
It's amazing how they all built on previous successes.
Yes.
And pushed the boundaries of what was possible.
And what's equally impressive is how he didn't just focus on rockets and satellites.
Right.
He recognized that a robust supporting infrastructure was essential.
So we're talking about everything from propulsion systems and satellite development to remote sensing and atmospheric research.
Exactly. It was about building an entire scientific ecosystem. A network of interconnected institutions that could drive innovation.
And this wasn't just limited to ISRO and the space program?
He wasn't.
We can see his leapfrogging philosophy play out in other fields.
Like his contributions to education?
Yes.
With the founding of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad?
His vision for IMA was to equip Indian managers to lead in a rapidly changing world.
Precisely. He even sought collaborations with institutions like Harvard.
Wow.
To ensure they were exposed to the latest management thinking.
It's almost like he was setting the stage for India to not just participate in the global marketplace, but to lead it.
That was his goal.
And we can't forget his unwavering commitment to using science to address real-world problems.
Absolutely.
His work with MS Swaminathan on envisioning agro-industrial complexes powered by nuclear energy.
That was truly revolutionary for its time.
Really was.
Imagine combining cutting-edge technology like nuclear energy with rural development to create these self-sufficient agro-industrial hubs.
It's a perfect example of how he could connect seemingly disparate fields.
He did.
And find innovative solutions.
It makes you wonder what other groundbreaking ideas he might have come up with if his life hadn't been cut short.
Well, his path was not without its complexities, especially when he took on the leadership of the Atomic Energy Commission.
The AEC.
After the tragic death of Homi Bhabha in 1966. This seems to be a pivotal point in his life. Where he's wrestling with ethical dilemmas and navigating a complex political landscape.
Absolutely.
I'm eager to hear more about his leadership within the AEC and the challenges he faced there.
All right, let's dive in. Taking on the leadership of the AEC was a real turning point. It put him at the helm of a program with immense potential, but also one fraught with ethical and strategic dilemmas. Especially in the context of the Cold War.
Yeah, this is just a few years after the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Exactly. The world was on edge.
It's incredible to think about the weight of responsibility he must have felt at that time.
It was a huge burden.
I mean, leading the space program was one thing, but being responsible for India's nuclear program was a whole other level.
Absolutely.
And from what I've read, his vision for the AEC differed significantly from his predecessor, Homi Bhabha.
Their approaches were quite different, particularly when it came to nuclear weapons. Bhabha was very much influenced by the geopolitical realities of the Cold War. He saw the development of nuclear weapons as essential to India's security.
So he was for an aggressive nuclear program?
You could say that, he believed it was a matter of national prestige and deterrence. But Vikram, while acknowledging the need for a strong defense, prioritized the peaceful applications of nuclear energy.
So it wasn't just about building bombs.
It wasn't.
It was about building a nation.
Exactly. A nation that could stand on its own 2 feet.
And meet the needs of its people.
He had this holistic approach to national security.
So it was about priorities.
Build the foundation first. And then make those decisions about nuclear weapons.
From a position of strength.
From a position of strength and self-reliance.
But imagine the pressure he must have been under at that time.
Oh, immense pressure.
The world was watching. India was at a crossroads.
And he was grappling with these enormous dilemmas. While simultaneously leading 2 massive organizations. The AEC and ISRO.
And all with this incredibly demanding schedule.
It took a toll on his health.
And tragically, it was all cut short when he died suddenly in 1971. At just 52 years old.
It was a devastating blow to India's scientific community.
It's hard to fathom the loss that India must felt at that moment.
It's impossible to know what he might have achieved had he lived longer.
Yeah.
But even in that short lifespan, his impact is undeniable.
His legacy continues to inspire generations of scientists, entrepreneurs, and nation builders.
Absolutely.
So what does all this mean for you, our listener?
Good question.
Vikram Sarabhai's story is more than just a history lesson.
It's a testament to the power of vision collaboration and a relentless drive to apply knowledge for the benefit of humanity.
He dared to leapfrog.
He did.
To challenge the status quo.
And to build institutions that would outlive him.
It begs the question, what leap could you make in your own field?
What problems are you passionate about solving?
His story is a reminder that impact doesn't come from isolating oneself in a specific domain.
No, it doesn't.
It comes from connecting those seemingly disparate fields.
Yeah, science, arts, industry, policy.
It's a valuable lesson for anyone striving to make a difference.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, let's go back to something that really stands out in the sources.
Okay.
This remarkable blend of ambition and humility that he embodied.
I was struck by that as well.
Here's a man leading two enormous organizations, juggling multiple industries, founding institutions.
Yeah.
Yet he never seemed to lose sight of the human element of the impact his work had on society as a whole.
There's this anecdote about how he insisted that even the lowest-ranking employee at Otira should feel comfortable voicing their opinions during meetings.
Really?
He wanted to hear from everyone.
He really championed this democratic approach to leadership.
Yeah.
He believed in empowering those around him.
Right.
Fostering this sense of ownership and shared responsibility.
It seems like he was genuinely more interested in nurturing talent and fostering collaboration than in commanding and controlling.
And think about his emphasis on training and mentorship.
Yeah.
He was constantly sending his team members abroad, encouraging them to learn from the best in the world and bring those skills back to India.
It's like he understood that knowledge multiplied when it was shared.
That's a key takeaway. Knowledge is most valuable when applied. And especially when it's shared and used to empower others.
And Vikram seemed to understand this intuitively.
Yeah.
He created institutions and programs that advance science and technology.
Yeah.
But he also fostered this culture of learning and innovation within Indian society as a whole.
It's a legacy that continues to shape India's scientific landscape even today.
It makes you wonder what qualities truly make a leader like him stand out.
Right. Yeah. Is it brilliance, vision, or is there something more at play?
I think that's a really good question.
While intellect and foresight are certainly important, I believe it's the human element that sets truly exceptional leaders apart.
Okay.
It's their ability to inspire, to empower, to create an environment where everyone feels valued.
Right.
And can contribute their best. That, in essence, is what Vikram Sarabhai embodied.
It's a powerful reminder that leadership isn't just about achieving great things.
No, it's not.
It's about enabling others to do the same.
Exactly. And it's a lesson that transcends any specific field or industry.
So whether you're leading a team, a company, or even a family, the ability to inspire and empower is essential.
And he reminds us that even amidst immense challenges, a spirit of optimism and collaboration can make a world of difference.
Think about how he navigated the complexities of the Cold War, securing support from both the U.S. and the Soviet Union for India's space program.
It's a testament to his diplomatic skills.
Right.
His ability to build bridges and find common ground, even in a world divided by ideologies.
And he wasn't afraid to take calculated risks.
He wasn't.
To embrace the unknown.
His leapfrogging philosophy, which he applied to everything from technology to education, was all about pushing boundaries and embracing calculated risks to propel India forward.
And it's a strategy that has clearly paid off.
It has.
Look at the strides India has made in space exploration, in technology development, and its global standing.
It's remarkable how much progress has been made since those early days of launching sounding rockets from a fishing village in Thumba.
It's almost poetic when you think about it.
It is.
Going from launching rockets from a fishing village to becoming a major player in the global space race.
And it all goes back to the foundations laid by visionaries like Vikram Sarabhai. They dared to dream big, to challenge the status quo, and to build institutions that would empower future generations to achieve even greater things.
It's a powerful reminder that progress is a continuous journey.
It is.
And each generation has the potential to build upon the achievements of those who came before.
And it's a call to action for all of us, isn't it?
It is.
To ask ourselves, what legacy will we leave behind? What contributions will we make to shape a better future?
Those are definitely questions worth pondering.
They are.
And I think Vikram Sarabhai's life provides us with a compelling roadmap for how to answer them.
I agree. It's a story that inspires us to not only strive for excellence in our chosen fields, but also to consider the broader impact of our work and use our knowledge and talents to make the world a better place.
Well said. So, as we conclude this deep dive into the life of Vikram Sarabhai, we hope you've not only gained a deeper understanding of his remarkable achievements, but also a sense of the values and principles that guided his path.
Remember, it's not just about reaching the moon or launching satellites.
Right.
It's about harnessing the power of science and technology to solve the real problems facing humanity and create a brighter future for everyone.
And as we move forward, it's essential to remember Vikram's collaborative spirit, his emphasis on inclusivity, and his unwavering belief in the power of education and mentorship to shape future generations.
Those are values worth carrying forward regardless of our individual paths or aspirations.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
But before we completely wrap up,
okay,
there are a couple of fascinating tidbits from Vikram's life that I just have to share.
Right.
Because they really highlight his character and his values.
I'm all ears. Those little details often reveal more than grand pronouncements, wouldn't you say?
Totally. One that really struck me was his commitment to Gandhian principles.
Okay.
Even though Vikram came from a wealthy family and was immersed in this world of science and technology, he remained a strict vegetarian throughout his life.
That's pretty remarkable. I mean, considering the social norms and dietary habits prevalent in India during that era, it speaks to a deep-rooted conviction.
Exactly. And it wasn't just a dietary choice for him. It was really a reflection of his belief in ahimsa, the principle of nonviolence, which he learned from Gandhi during his childhood.
Okay.
There's this almost ironic statement in one of the sources that describes the Sarabhai household.
Okay, what is it?
Well, it says that even the dogs were vegans by choice, and only milk was fed to ants on a daily basis.
That paints such a vivid picture.
It does.
It really highlights how deeply ingrained these principles were
Yeah.
in their way of life. And it's especially noteworthy given Vikram's role in leading the Atomic Energy Commission.
Right.
Imagine the internal dilemmas he must faced.
Yeah.
Grappling with the destructive potential of nuclear technology.
Right.
While holding on to those Gandhian values.
It speaks to his complex and nuanced thinking.
Absolutely.
He wasn't someone who saw the world in black and white.
No.
He embraced those contradictions, those internal tensions,
Yeah.
and sought to find a path that aligned with his principles,
Right.
while also addressing the realities of a rapidly changing world.
It's a valuable lesson for all of us, isn't it? To hold on to our values, even when confronted with difficult choices.
Yeah.
And to recognize that progress doesn't always follow a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
There will be setbacks, dilemmas, and compromises along the way.
Yeah.
But it's our commitment to those core principles
Right.
that ultimately shapes the direction of our journey.
Absolutely. And one last anecdote, just because I find it so charming.
Okay.
Remember how Vikram's parents homeschooled all of their children?
Yes.
Well, there's this story about how at the age of 6, he started sending letters to himself in Simla.
To himself?
To himself. Simply because he loved receiving mail.
That's adorable.
Isn't it wonderful?
It speaks to his early curiosity.
Yes.
And his determination, even as a child, to figure things out and create his own experiences.
And it's said that he always insisted on writing the address himself.
Really?
Carefully and truthfully reflecting his inherent sense of honesty and integrity.
It's amazing how those early glimpses of character can foreshadow the values that shape a person's life.
It really is.
And it reminds us that even the greatest achievements have their roots in those seemingly insignificant moments of childhood curiosity.
Right.
Of a thirst for knowledge and a willingness to explore the world with an open mind.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the life of Vikram Sarabhai, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding not only of his remarkable achievements, but also of the values and principles that guided his path.
Remember, it's not just about reaching for the stars.
Yeah.
It's about harnessing that same spirit of innovation and collaboration to tackle the challenges we face here on Earth.
It's about using our knowledge and our talents to create a better future for ourselves and for generations to come.
And that, I think, is the most enduring legacy of Vikram Sarabhai.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.